What's up, subscribers? Sunjetsu here, and today I wanted to go ahead and give you my top 5 ways to become rich in Total War Warhammer. Now, for this list, I decided to go ahead and pick things from CA's blog, Creative Assembly's blog that they put on for Total War Warhammer, talking about how income and money is going to work in Total War Warhammer, and you know how to basically run your empire and gain as much money as possible. Now, for this list, they had a huge list of different things, and a lot of it was really helpful, and I actually really like this blog, one of the most helpful blogs that they've had so far, in my opinion, especially for people who haven't played Warhammer yet or haven't played a Total War game at all. So for this list, I just chose 5 things from this list that I think are the most helpful in my opinion. Now, these are a mixture of things that are common sense stuff for us Total War players, but can be helpful for players who haven't played Total War at all, and things that I found unique and interesting for Total War Warhammer specifically. So these are the top 5 things I want to go ahead and give to you guys. Let's go ahead and get started. Number 5, signing trade agreements. So signing trade agreements is what it says. Signing trade agreements via diplomacy can provide a steady source of income. The value of these trade agreements rises depending on how many unique resources there are present in the territory you control. Signing trade agreements and capturing territory with resources present to boost trade income is an effective strategy. So I put this one on number 5 because, in my opinion, this is something that, for veteran Total War players, this is something that you have to really do in Total War games to be able to gain your income. Most times, the way I gain my income really early on is to gain trade agreements. A lot of us, depending on the Total War game, the first turn, you try to get as many trade agreements as possible. And Empire kind of screws you over a little bit because you know, some of the factions get really testy with it if you decide to have trade agreements with certain other factions, like say Britain against France or something like that. But I decided to choose as a number 5 because a lot of us Total War players do already know this, but this can be beneficial to the players who have never played Total War or haven't played any strategy games, and they don't really know too much about trade agreements. So, like I said, in my opinion, trade agreements is very, very important. I have this on this list for a reason when it comes to gaining money. Now, Creative Assembly has stated that Total War Warhammer, some factions will have limited interaction and limited agreements that they can come up with diplomacy, like say the Empire and the Greenskins. I'm assuming that trade agreements is one of those things. I'm not exactly sure how that would work 100%, but I'm assuming that trade agreements is going to be one of those things that they can do with each other, along with like non-aggression pacts and stuff like that. So it is viable to do those trade agreements. It's just depending. They also said that it might not last very long with those trade agreements with say factions that you normally wouldn't trade with, say Empire and Vampires. You probably get more trade agreements and more money from, say, you know, or a longer trade agreement with the Dwarves if you're the Empire. But that's why I have this number 5, because it's very important when you grow your income. Number 4 is raiding, and what it says here, the reason I chose this for number 4 is because we all know about raiding who played Total War before. I mean, it's something that you either do or you don't. I love doing it. I love doing it in the old Total War games. I love the old raiding system. You can individually raid certain resources. I'm not exactly sure if it's back in this Total War, but I also do like the raiding stance, which they do have. They talk about it here. But this poster here talks about the green skins in particular and their raiding. So let me go ahead and talk about it here, or just say exactly what it says. Regular raiding is an excellent way to offset a proportion of an army's upkeep costs, and will also impact public order in the province you are raiding. Enter a poorly defended enemy territory and select raiding stance. Playing as the Greenskins, you can adopt the super powerful raiding camp stance, which generates income but also provides defensive bonuses, opens up global recruitment options, and boosts morale. So I would think that with any of the armies, raiding, yes, that's going to be a big deal, especially if you're just sitting around in enemy territory not doing anything. Raiding is perfect as long as you're not in the vicinity of getting ambushed by any other army. But for the Greenskins, apparently they have their own raiding stance called the raiding camp stance, which gives them more income than regular raiding stances, but also gives them defensive bonuses. So I'm assuming like a little fort of raiding, a little fort that fort/raiding type of stance thing where you get a lot of defense points, but you can also get a lot of raiding points. And that makes a lot of sense because of the Greenskins' history and how they raid and how they gain income and stuff like that, how they pillage and stuff. So I really do like that. It kind of gives you a little bit flavor to Total War Warhammer or the Warhammer universe, and that's the reason I put this at number 4. Number 3, another almost new thing that I kind of want to see into effect. We have no screenshots or nothing of this yet, but basically followers. Now, what it says here is, it states, your lords can gain followers whose expertise brings with it a variety of benefits, some of which are financial in nature. Exchanging such followers between your lords allows you to maximize these benefits. For example, a follower who reduces upkeep for infantry units would be best deployed with a lord who has a lot of high upkeep infantry in his army. This is bringing a good amount of micro back into Total War, in my opinion. This very much reminds me the follower system. I'm not sure if Shogun 2, I think Shogun 2 had retinues that you can get, but you couldn't trade them. Now, in Medieval and Rome, you can get followers and people that are following you and stuff like that, and along with different traits that your characters and your kings and your generals just earn from being in certain areas, being in certain battles, things like that, which I love from Medieval 1, from Medieval 2 and Rome 1. So I'm thinking this is like a return of that system, but you can also exchange the followers to different lords. That way, if you, like he said, if you have an army that has a very, very high upkeep units, very, very strong units, and you want to go ahead and switch one of the lords or one of the followers to another lord that that will reduce it, that's a great strategy, and I feel like that will actually bring up your income. If it is a substantial percentage that they affect, then that could be worthwhile in its earnest. So I do really like this system. It's a throwback to older systems that we've had in Total War, and I love the way that they brought it back. The reason it gets number 3 because not only does it give your lords more of a uniqueness, and they can change the things on the campaign map, they can change the income, but it brings back something older seeming that we seem to have lost or has been changed in some way in the previous Total War game. So this gets number 3 slot. Number 2, infrastructure. Now, this is, in my opinion, one of the most essential things that you have to do in a Total War game. If you do not do this and you just expand, then your empire will crumble far easier because of you losing money per turn, because your units are in the highest capabilities that they can be, because your infrastructure isn't up to par, your roads are not up to par, things like that. So this is one of the things that I like to do in Total War games. I love doing it in Civilization style games too. I'm more of I guess in Total War, I'll go to war if I have to, if I want to. I mean, of course you go to war, but one of the funnest things to do is have this little plot of dirt that is your kingdom and just upgrade it. That's what I love, and that will bring you income and give you access to better buildings, better technology, better units. It's a given in my opinion, but for people who've never played Total War, I'm making this top 5 for them as well. If you've never played Total War, then or any strategy game, then this might not be a given to you as well. Yeah, you do have to put money into infrastructure. You have to build up your economy. You have to build up your kingdom, and it's better to do that. Sometimes you don't even want to expand really. You just want to sit down, plop down with 3 or 4 cities, upgrade them to as high as it can go, and then expand because you have really, really good units that you can get from buildings. Now, sometimes yeah, you do have to expand because you need to get more income because the units and the buildings are very expensive. That depends on which Total War game you're playing, but for the most part, most Total War games, they allow you a great deal of infrastructure building before they start like basically pushing you out to go conquer foreign lands and go conquer this and go conquer that. And that's the reason this gets the number 2 slot, because this is very, very important in growing your wealth. Number 1, looting bodies. Now, this is something that I don't really believe that we've seen in Total War as of yet, in my opinion. I'm almost positive Attila doesn't have it. I have to go back and play Attila and play some of the battles, but I'm almost positive Attila doesn't have it. It's certain that Rome 2 didn't have it. Shogun 2 I don't think had it either, but I know Medieval. Oh no, I think Attila had a sense. I think you could ransom. I'm not exactly sure. They brought something back. I forget what it was, but Medieval 2 had it the best. That you can ransom off your captives. You can ransom off the people that you get. Now I'm thinking about it, Attila does have it, I think. And so you can ransom them off. You can go ahead and get money from them. A lot of the times, most of the times, they reject it and they are automatically killed because they rejected your offer, which is weird. You don't get a chance to like be like, oh well, I gave you that offer, you know, and you guys rejected it, so I'll go ahead and either keep them, execute them, slave them, whatever. You don't get a say. It just automatically kills them as soon as they refuse. But anyway, this I feel like this is 100% new, and I love this. This should have been in Total War games since at least Rome 2 or Attila. I mean, it should have been back then. But what it says here is, winning battles is another opportunity to bolster your treasury. Once the dust has settled, the corpses of the slain can be looted, and you can also choose to ransom any enemy warriors captured by your troops. So it brings back the ransoming thing like we've had in previous Total War games, but automatically looting the enemy soldiers, that I believe we have not seen. And even if we have, this is very important to gaining income, because this is called Total War. You're going to be at war a lot. You're going to be in a lot of fights a lot. It's going to be very beneficial for you to take the stuff off the dead men that you kill on the battlefield, and also add that extra layer of flavor into the game. And I completely love it. I love the fact that this is in the game. We should have the ability to raid the wagon train, the train that comes in and gives them all their supplies, gives them the shields and swords, and then sell that stuff. You know, we should have those abilities, those supply lines. We'd be able to raid those from the army if we destroy them. I mean, I just feel like this is one of those things that should have been added earlier on, but I'm glad that it's in Total War Warhammer now, because I am definitely going to be destroying a lot of armies and taking away their stuff. I'm assuming that if you, I mean, I don't know about the lore-wise, but if you attack greenskin armies and kill them, I am assuming you'll get less loot from their bodies, as opposed to if you like destroyed a what's it called, a dwarven army or something like that, which has a lot better weapons and armor, and probably has a good deal of gold, unless you're killing goblins, you know. But anyway, that's why I really like this stance, because it kind of incorporates another aspect of getting income into your gameplay, into the fighting, into the war aspect of it, and I love it, and that's why it gets the #1 slot. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. To those new Total War players who have never played a Total War game and are starting out with Warhammer, tell me what you thought of this list. Put in the comment section below, let me know if you've played any Total War game before, or if you played any strategy game before. For those of you who have, I know some of the stuff on this list is just kind of given stuff for us, since we've been playing Total War for a while, but there are a few new things that are Warhammer-esque and specifically directed to Warhammer that I really enjoyed out of this little tiny blog that we got. So let me know what you guys thought about this blog in the comment section below. If you're looking to read the rest of the blog, I should have probably said this in the beginning, but I'll put the link in the description below so you guys can go ahead and check it out. And let's see if we can get over 50 likes for the looting systems that we have in Warhammer. We're having that looting system that takes the gold coins and the armor and stuff like that, and I mean, anything of value off the dead bodies of the slain soldiers in the battlefield. Let's go ahead and get 50 likes for that. And as always, guys, if you'd like to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to see more. Become a Sun subscriber today. This is going to be Sunjetsu signing off. What's up, subscribers? Sunjetsu here, and today I wanted to go ahead and give you my top 5 ways to become rich in Total War Warhammer. Now, for this list, I decided to go ahead and pick things from CA's blog, Creative Assembly's blog that they put on for Total War Warhammer, talking about how income and money is going to work in Total War really early on, is to gain trade agreements. A lot of us, depending on the Total War game, the first term you try to get as many trade agreements as possible. And Empire kind of screws you over a little bit, because you know, some of the factions get really testy with it if you decide to have trade agreements with certain other factions, like say Britain against France or something like that. But I decided to choose as a number 5 because a lot of us Total War players do already know this, but this can be beneficial to the players who have never played Total War or haven't played any strategy games, and they don't really know too much about trade agreements. So like I said, agreements rises depending on how many unique resources there are present in the territory you control. Signing trade agreements and capturing territory with resources present to boost trade income is an effective strategy. So I put this one at number 5 because, in my opinion, this is something that for veteran Total War players, this is something that you have to really do in Total War games to be able to gain your income. Most times, the way I gain my income Warhammer and you know how to basically run your empire and gain as much money as possible. Now, for this list, they had a huge list of different things, and a lot of it was really helpful, and I actually really like this blog, one of the most helpful blogs that they've had so far, in my opinion, especially for people who haven't played Warhammer yet or haven't played a Total War game at all. So for this list, I just chose 5 things from this list that I think are the most helpful in my opinion. Now, these are a mixture of things that are common sense stuff for us Total War players, but can be helpful for players who haven't played Total War at all, and things that I found unique and interesting for Total War Warhammer specifically. So these are the top 5 things I want to go ahead and give to you guys. Let's go ahead and get started. Number 5, signing trade agreements. So signing trade agreements is what it says. Signing trade agreements via diplomacy can provide a steady source of income. The value of these trade